Hello, and welcome back. We're going to look at the lands of this Fallout Science Precon here that we've been looking at in the last few videos. And then we'll kind of just give a basic overview of kind of what the pros and cons of this deck here are, what my future plans for this deck are going to be, and kind of break it down a little bit. But with that, let's just go ahead and jump right in. Alright, so starting off, we have pretty basic stuff, like basic lands. I'm not funny, it's fine. So anyway, we have in this deck 4 plains, 5 islands, and 4 mountains. All of them have unique Fallout themed full art colors on them. And then we also have 1 cycling land, which is the blue-white cycling land. It enters the battlefield tapped, and you can pay 2 colorless and discard it to draw a card. We also, in this deck, have Myriad Landscape, Terramorphic Expanse, and Evolving Wilds. Evolving Wilds and Terramorphic Expanse being tap and sacrifice it to search your library for a basic land that goes onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. Myriad Landscape being a slightly more powerful version. It enters the battlefield tapped, taps for a colorless, but you can pay 2 and tap and sacrifice Myriad Landscape. Just dive for your library for 2 basic lands that share a type, and put them onto the battlefield tapped and shuffle your library. So those are the sack lands that we have present in this deck. The next one that we have are the 3 lands that are specifically they enter tapped unless you control a basic land that shares a color with it. So this one enters tapped unless you have a plains or an island. This one is unless you have an island or a mountain, and this one is if you have a mountain or a plains. We have all 3 of those present in this deck. We also have 3 artifact lands, which are bridges, all 3 of them. We have Rustvale Bridge, Silver Bluff Bridge, and Razortide Bridge. All of these enter the battlefield tapped and are indestructible, and other than that, just tap for the dual colors represented. And so we again have all 3 dual color combinations in this deck represented here. The next one that we have are the conversion lands, as I call them, where you pay 1 colorless and tap to add 1 of each color that these lands are assigned to. So we have the white-blue and the blue-red versions of that. Then we have the good old temples, Temple of Epiphany and Temple of Enlightenment. We do not, unfortunately, have the Boros white-red temple, but we do have these 2 when they enter the battlefield tapped, and when they do enter the battlefield, you can scry 1. We also have the Prairie Stream, which enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or more basic lands. And then we have our unique kind of one-off singleton lands here. Treasure Vault, which by default you just tap it for 1 colorless mana. Alternatively, you can pay XX and tap, sacrifice Treasure Vault, create X treasure tokens. So paying 2 mana to get 1 treasure token as many times as you want in one go. So if you pay 2, tap, sack. Now for every 2 colorless mana that you pour into this, you're going to create 1 treasure token. So you end up losing mana on that exchange, but it can be good if you just hit one of those turns where you're just like, I can't use any of my mana, I can't cast anything right now. So I'm just going to spend my turn, dump into this, sacrifice this, and then create a whole bunch of treasure tokens so that I can save that mana up and use it on my next turn. So situationally, that can be very, very good. We got Exotic Orchard, which taps to add 1 mana of any color that the land your opponent controls could produce. In a 3-color deck, I appreciate these. In anything less than that, there's a good chance that you won't be playing against an opponent that is running your colors. So maybe not quite as useful. I mean, I guess obviously if you're the more players that you're playing against, the higher the likelihood will be that this will be able to tap for one of your colors. But it's still kind of highly dependent on what your opponents have. We have Buried Ruin, which taps for a colorless by default, but you can also pay 2 and tap it and sack it. Return target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. This can be useful. This is an artifact deck, so there's going to be a lot of those, and if an artifact creature dies, you can pull that and get one of your crucial things back. Path of Ancestry taps for a colorless by default, but you can also tap it and pay 1 life. Sorry, not Path of Ancestry. Spire of Industry. I said that wrong. Taps for 1 colorless by default. You can tap it and pay 1 life to add 1 mana of any color. You can activate this only if you control an artifact, so that's definitely doable in this deck, because we have lots of artifacts. I don't know if you picked up on that. We also have Quintessential Command Tower. Taps to add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. Ash Barrens, which taps for colorless by default, but instead of playing it, you can also pay 1 colorless to discard it and search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle your library. We have Mystic Monastery, which enters tapped, but taps for all 3 of our colors. We have Helios 1, which taps for a colorless by default, and it has 2 other abilities. The first one being pay 1 and tap, you get an energy counter. The second one being pay 3 and tap, pay X energy counters, sacrifice Helios 1, destroy target non-land permanent with mana value X. Activate only as a sorcery. So a little bit of control, expending of energy counters, and you can also tap it to gain more energy counters. And the last land in this deck is Path of Ancestry, which enters the battlefield tapped, and you can tap for 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. When that mana is spent to cast a creature spell that shares a creature type with your commander, scry 1. So whenever you cast a human or a scientist spell, you would scry 1. So there it is. There's the unaltered, completed deck list for Dr. Madison Lee, the Science Precon. I feel like this deck could be upgraded and run very well. I feel like if somebody were to take this deck and just focus it, increase its energy counter production, because there's only 16 cards in this entire deck that have anything to do with energy counters, and so if we were to remove some of those outlier abilities and just really focus it on energy counters and casting as many artifact spells as fast as you can, and add in some more regular and definitive win conditions, then I think that this deck could really be something else. Super powerful, super strong. But out the box, I'd give it maybe a 4 out of 10. Was not super impressed by it, but I definitely see potential in it. So the plan is that next time I will be doing the Ishin deck that I've been talking about for so long. We will go over the deck list on that, and I will show you guys the spreadsheet for them, how I have them currently set up with cards, again, that I just have on hand. But for now, thank you guys. This completes the Fallout Precon analysis. I have 2 more Precons that I want to go over with you guys. One of them being the Lord of the Rings Frodo and Sam, and the other one being Commodore Guff. And so all those will also be coming up soon. And I have a couple more decks, including a Gearson Starn and a Crash deck that I also have plans on sharing with you guys. But for now, like and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you next time.